Hello there, we're checking out Antigravity, Google's new AI code editor. According to them, it's good, and they say, why professional developers choose Google Antigravity? Well, the thing is, it released today, so that's a bit presumptuous to say at least. It seemingly does the same thing as other guys, but we'll see. Apparently, price-wise, the individual plan is 0 a month, right? Get started with your Google account. And you have access to Gemini 3 Pro, Sonnet 4.5, and GPT OSS. But is this really a free option here? Or I freely have the option to pay for Gemini 3 Pro. So that's not the same thing. Well, regardless, let's install it. And I intentionally keep this in because this is pretty different, I would argue. I already realized this. So sure, we are importing our settings from VS Code, but also, it's interesting. So we right away have to decide what kind of coder we are. So this is the agent-assisted development. So this is like a AI sidekick style. This is like a AI at the front seat, and I guess everything else would be kind of more like custom. So AI takes more of a backseat there. But we can see the differences that terminal execution policy is turbo, right? It's not enough that it's deciding on its own, but it's deciding damn fast. So even if you're watching it, you're gonna miss it. Agent will never request for review, okay? And also, yeah, sure, the browser. And automatic, agent decides, right? Agent will occasionally request for review, right? That's good. Agent will frequently ask for review. That's interesting. So I would possibly put myself into this camp, review-driven development. But apparently they are recommending this style. All right. Custom. So this is like AI. I don't think this is like closer to no AI, right? But let's just say this is what they recommend. So let's go with that. Next, key bindings. And this is standard, but we can also open Antigravity with AG, sure. And apart from that, the only requirement that you log in with your Google account, then you have to have one, of course. And we're in. And I only opened up the console, and this is pretty much just, we copied VS Code here, which is a good thing, I would argue, because at least you know what's up. And interestingly, we see on the side that they actually selected Gemini 3 Pro. So we got low, Gemini Claude 4.5 Sonnet, and GPT OSS. So I'm thinking that if you're getting eager, then they're going to put you on GPT OSS 120B. So this is a cheaper model. As far as I know, currently on OpenRouter, it's cost 0.05 in and 0.25 out, kind of give or take. So this is one of the cheaper ones. Ergo, this is even cheaper than their Gemini Flashlight. Yeah, that's correct. I said it correctly. Because that one is 0.1 in and 0.4 out. So we have a project here, just a folder I made, and we entered. And I can already tell this is not a one-to-one VS Code. Because, well, partly we are using the OpenVSX, so assuming that you only use that marketplace, then you won't have access to as many extensions. But also one possible bad news, I just changed the look to the GitHub dark theme, which is my preference. But this is just an example that it didn't take my extensions. Like clearly they cannot just one-to-one take it, but you would need to rebuild it, partly. But they also have some very interesting settings here. Like mainly what can the agent automatically fix? And of course, what they're allowed to fix. But let's just try the AI. So let's build a Go temple equivalent in Rust. This is just kind of an idea that I had at the back of my head. Okay. So this is actually interesting because if you just get the API key from their Google AI Studio, then you cannot use it at all when it comes to Gemini free. Also, this looks pretty different, or at least different from how other AIs tend to do things. And we started in an implementation plan. So this is good, you know. I understand that there's like a balance between planning and doing, and but you definitely want to start with a plan. And actually, look-wise, this looks fine. And I'll tell you that I've already tried this project. Not with Gemini free. Not with Gemini free. And I just realized that, you know, it's gonna be hard to vibe code at the very least. I just said I'm gonna do it later. So that happened some time ago. So at least it understood what kind of style we should go for, and that's fair. Although, should we use this style? I mean, this is definitely a Rust syntax. So if you can see the pointer is with the and sign. So there you go. That looks good. Proposed changes. By the way, I've changed nothing about Antigravity so far, other than changing it to the GitHub team. All right, let's proceed here. Let's see what we have. Okay, one seeming problem. This is like a bit of a critique on my end. Is that, well, first of all, we don't see the numbers of how many codes changed, but maybe we're gonna see that later when we're creating the files right now, right? We see how many tokens. Right, but we're also creating a lot of files at the same time. Right? Did it work? Oh. Oh, I see. So... fair enough. It's gonna be a subfolder, so then we have to move there. No, will it remember the context? Also, a minor critique of mine. It's not even minor, because what if we lose track of the current process, right? Then I have to re-educate the AI. Like, okay, this is where you were. So I think this implementation plan is okay, but it would be better off written down. And by the way, I'm not really leaving anything out other than the thinking phases. But also, I'm not really given much information here to work with. It's like, I made this file. Okay, it's in. All right, I guess we can start reading it. Oh, we can accept the changes. Okay, well, that's my option. I already accepted the changes though. So I kind of like the organization that it's going for. Now, this might seem like a basic thing, but I had this experience with other AIs. Basically everything, unless you really specify it, you're just gonna end up with very long files. Another critique of mine would be that we're just making like hundreds of changes at the same time. That's not really how I like the role. Okay, so we made hundreds of changes. I established a Git repo, I guess. That was all me. But okay, we're going with the AI message too. Feed, implement a new code generation module and update project dependencies. Yeah, I don't even know what you can do. Like, what are you gonna call this? I don't know. Fuck it, we have a lot of stuff. Commit. All right, let's go. But what if it backfires? I guess we'll see. And the vibe is that they're like, okay, I added more files, sure. But also I would ask that it's going with the temple extension here, and it's kind of writing your Rust. Now, technically this is okay, I guess, maybe, because like you can have the same extension as other things, but it's not super clean, I would argue. So we are definitely not using temple language, I guess, here. But and this is a good example too. So we're not really trying hard examples, right? And we can see that the logic here is wrong. So what we are doing here is that we have a Rust files that actually write this. But effectively, we are not making a temple-like language for writing HTML user interfaces in Rust, like I'm kind of like specified right now. But we're kind of like making like somewhat Rust-seeming temple files are written in Rust. Not like it at all. So I kind of wonder if AI can fix this. So we have a generator here. Let's see if we can make a change. So Gemini has stopped for now. Well, it was making some mistakes, but it was also correcting it, so I guess. Although I didn't have much room for input. My room for input is like I accept all, or I guess I just look around and try to figure out what the hell is going on. So the grand total made 2 git commits all by me. So there you go. And apparently we have a walkthrough of what we get. So this is kind of cool, but aren't we making some? Can we make a detailed readme? That would be good. So so I'm getting this. Seems good, but also, what if the session just shuts off? Then how do we continue? And also, how will others know how to use it? But apparently, it understood what it's supposed to be. So we have hello world, and it takes a string, right? On the heap now, it doesn't matter. And I guess that's it. So this seems to be good, although this is the simplest the simplest example, but fair enough, right? So that's all we have. So look at this, my choice. Either reject all or accept all. With highly incentivized to click accept all with all that greenness. So I'm gonna click accept all. So I also asked for it to rename everything to Rusty. Well, partly because the temple extension is not gonna work because well, it's already taken. Also, it's cool enough. So, but we can see that Gemini didn't catch all, right? So we changed few things to Rusty. That's fine. Rusty. What a great project. But others remain temple, so not so great. It's okay. But it is not incapable of making mistakes. So if I left and just let Gemini do his thing, it would have failed, right? But perhaps that would be my critique, that it seemed to look good, but does it actually work? Because we made 1,000 changes since the last commit. We just lived that life. And of course, naturally, we're just gonna tell AI to make us a commit message. What's gonna be? Cooking in the, well, good luck with that. What's gonna be that? Oh my god, let's go. But that's okay. Well, that's not wrong. We did some of that. We did some refactoring. But there were like more changes in that 1,000 ones. So next up, we're gonna ask for some examples because, well, I have a lot of reading ahead of me. But I don't feel like it, so I guess we're just gonna fully vibe code this. But actually kind of looks good. But one thing we are learning, for sure, is that we actually have quite a lot of use from Gemini 3 Pro High. So we get 0 use if we just take the API key. But if we use Antigravity, then we have a full liftoff. And by the way, we were living such a life that we didn't even have Rust Analyzer. I just added in. Okay, we have it. And it does work. So we see it on the status bar. I think that's how it's called. And it works. So there you go. And apparently the project is... I'm not sure. I'm just clicking accept all. By the way, we don't have to live that life anymore. Just anyway. So we can actually see the changes one by one. So what are we doing here? But the problem here, I would still... I'm not that's not a problem, but this is an important fact that, like, Gemini's still doing its thing, right? So it's not really compared to what I'm thinking of doing, but what it's thinking of doing. So it's not that's a good way to analyze this on my end. As I see, it's like clearly a mistake. but format-wise, it looks good, right? So this is kind of what I would expect to see. It looks good, right? Although we have a bug here. Oh, the macro is buggy. Well, the Rusty journey is a little bit stuck now. So since it added, or started playing around with lifetimes, we kind of have a problem that we seemingly just can't get out of. So, okay. Right. But we still have bugs. Okay, I'm just gonna tell AI to fix it. And truthfully, I'm not sure what's going on. We made 450 and 439 changes since last time. Well, of course, we're just gonna click generate here. We're just gonna do our good job. And yeah, update the Rusty library. I guess that's fair enough way of description. Oh man. But actually, I'm super impressed by what it's doing. But I'm not sure about this is the best way to do it though. So it's a very smart guy that possibly has like maybe like a 6 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10 process. We still have the same problem, and Gemini says we don't. So the Rusty macro is still not the best, but I guess it's working for 3 out of 4, or is it? No, it's like 2 out of 3. Fair enough. So, and of course, our plan eventually, although this is turning out to be a longer review, is that we open up the browser, right? And we see this creation, I suppose, what we have. And I guess it should just work. Albeit I would say that he took some creative liberties here, because instead of having some kind of a temple or Rusty extension here, we just have a Rusty macro, right? It does look okay, right? So, but we are not having the template files. We just have some macros, and if they work, then I guess this is fine. But this is good too. So, well, we were on this Rusty journey. Well, you guys didn't see it, but for like half an hour, give or take. And now, my quota exceeded. But the question is, can we select another model? Okay, but like, I can just reselect the same model. Would that work? I guess not. So clearly it does not, but it does not tell you which models you can use. Can we use the low version? Let's check it out. So we're trying with the low version. That's a quota 2. Dang. All right, let's see what we can use. So these are on the quota, and I can't use it for 4 hours now. Fair enough. Can we use Claude 4.5 thinking? That model doesn't suck that bad. All right, that's pretty good. So maybe Claude can figure this out. If we can use it. If we can. And we can. So apparently we have a Claude Quota 2. That's interesting because in most AI code editors, how it works is that you have the premium models and you have the free models. That sucks so bad that you're better off just using free models of Open Router. Or basically almost anything else. But here, we actually have access to Claude 4.5 thinking. I'm not sure how much, but it's not too bad. But the question is, if Gemini 3 could not figure out this Rusty, can 4.5 figure it out? So it seems like Claude 4.5 is not any better at this. In fact, it keeps telling me that there is no bug. Well, I guess it's just the mindset problem. Anyhow, we do see that, well, I'm not sure which other editors have this feature, but this is kind of cool. So we have an artifacts section here, changes overview, terminal, artifact section, where we have the implementation plan. So this is just the first plan. We have tasks. Apparently everything is done. And we have the walkthrough. It's teaching me how it works, or in this case, it does not work. I mean, my critique would be partly that you guys can see like it's updated like 22 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago. So yeah, I was correct. Like we made the first plan like 21 minutes ago. And compared to that, we made like amazing progress, no doubt. Okay. I guess I'm just gonna go with my signature accept all. But interestingly, the analyzer is wrong. So it's actually running now. We got a rusty web server. Well, I guess. And this is generated. So how it works, we have this hello world, and we got the title of rusty web server and body. So we throw this into the page, and this takes well, 2 strings, the title and the body, and we put the title here. Body goes, oh yeah, over here. The footer is ultimately come to 2025, right. So this seems to work. Huh. We don't even have the rusty extension here. Right, this is interesting. Can we make this spicier? So I would say, although we are not using the browser feature here, so this is the extension that comes with it. We can just open the browser, and it comes with the Antigravity agent to access the web. So essentially, it gives access to the AI, so it can interact with the web page. It's not super relevant for our use case, at least right now. Oh, that's intriguing. So we got to the point where I actually clicked reject it all, right? But this deleted my file. Not the best. That's not was not the desired outcome here. So it was changing my entire main RS to something else. So we didn't want that. And apparently it cannot be undone because accept agent changes can't undo accept agent changes across all files because the changes were made to the main RS. This doesn't make sense, right? So, okay. Is it technically true? Because I rejected the change. So the agent deleted my main file, and I cannot undo it because the agent changed it. Okay? So we actually managed to get it working quite a bit. No, and actually found out that you can hit the limits quite a bit. So based on my testing, it takes about 20 minutes to half an hour to run out of Gemini free pro credits, and takes about 1 hour to run out of Claude Sonnet 4.5. Now, this might take longer if you use presumably cheaper credits, and these are all counted together. So assuming that you use what I think to be the most expensive credits, you're gonna be running out, well, in 1.5 hours. Maybe sooner if you're even more of a maniac than me. But we actually got something here. Not too bad. So this is what we have. We have links, and we have styling. So we have working Tailwind, right? And rusty, well, Rust macros, I guess. I shouldn't call it templates, but it's basically macros. Although it's kind of showing errors, but you can see the syntax here. So we have Tailwind imported, right? It's in the scripts. So we are actually writing HTML here with, I guess, a title in the brackets, which we are throwing in, and it works perfectly. But it still needs tweaks. We also have conditionals, right? So we got the hat here, right? Right, this is also, well, this, yeah, hello world. But yeah, we have conditionals here. Batch tags, status batch, we're getting from over here. And then we're using these values later. Match actually works pretty well for this template. But this is actually quite cool. And of course, we can just use components, but we saw that in the page component in the first place. I think we had the footer here somewhere. Yeah, we're not done yet. So, but this is not about making Rusty here. This is just supposed to be an example. And I think we can argue that I was quite comprehensive here. My realistic experience is that early on, you can be more hands-off, but later on, you need to give more of an input, which might be even more difficult considering that the development just happened at like 1,000 miles an hour, and like, oh yeah, you're just trying to figure out what's happening here and there. And one for sure, a Gemini 3 Pro is smarter than Claude Sonnet 4.5, but Sonnet 4.5 is pretty good too. By the way, this is interesting and relevant. So let's say that we have this template here, but can we actually use the AI autocomplete? And seemingly yes. Look at this. So this is not tied to the limit, but also this is as brand new as you can think of. This is just getting invented, right? But it's not even working. It's showing errors in many places. And AI can help with that. Now, this is partly the argument for using a standard language, but then we can just get some help, right? There you go. We can just go read more. Oh, that's fine. But the point is, well, I guess the autocomplete is not limited, but also that's pretty smart. Helping me with something that doesn't even exist.
Well, hello there. So this is day 2, and they actually had an update, an agent manager, which is a project manager that also keeps track of progress. Yet, we only have one project here, so it's okay. Also, if you wanted extensions, you might want to change your editor to use the VS Code Marketplace. Now, I kind of like the idea of an open extension marketplace. I do. But it's also true that it doesn't have as much stuff on it. So just for you, now, your best bet would be just to upload your extension to the VS Code OpenVSX Marketplace, but you might want to use the Visual Studio Code Marketplace. Anyway, I was also investigating the level of tweaking you can do here. And as you can tell, you cannot install GitHub Copilot. Now, this is not that surprising, but we at least discovered one limitation here. Also, while you can fully install other providers like Brewcode and KiloCode and whatever, but they're way more finicky with Antigravity. If you put them on the right, you can't even see their settings. So let's say we have the agent here and we put KiloCode over here. We actually had to enable just to be able to do this, but no, this doesn't work. So we can put it on the left. So that's fine. Oh well. I'm just saying this, that Google kind of wants you to use their built-in thing. And similarly, if you want to use the inline chat, then you have Flash and Gemini 3 Pro low, although the second one is credit limited. The first one, you can use it as much as you like. And I would say this is a better deal than what other providers have, because they don't even allow you to complete your lines. They don't allow you to have inline chat completion if you run out of your quota, I suppose. So presumably you will not run out of your quota here. But you also don't have the option to add custom providers. So that might matter. So this is worth knowing about. And depending on the quota Google is giving you, it would draw it into question whether this AI code editor is viable. But I suppose possibly at one point they're gonna have some kind of a individual plus subscription that gives you a higher quota. And just to be fair, I think their approach is better, at least compared to what you have in VS Code. In fact, VS Code Copilot is clearly the worst, even compared to some random chats you can add in. That is partly why I'm so familiar with them. But let's just continue the project. Okay, not much progress yet, but the AI is trying to fix it. Well, it started a server and it's running, and like, oh yeah, the server is running. How are we gonna fix that? By changing the ports? No, this is stupid. We're not gonna do that. I guess we can just shut down the server. Are we gonna accept all? This seems like a reject situation here. We're gonna go with reject. We don't like that. Okay. And did it break? No, just continue. So next up, we have fully working components, seemingly, but we actually got to the point where Antigravity is asking me for permission to the browser, which is perfect, and that's exactly why I wanted this project. So we're gonna always allow. And apparently the agent is doing something here. He navigated the page. I've captured the screenshot. Took the screenshot, right? Oh, yeah. I can see the issue. But I'm not sure this was the time to actually just investigate the page, because all we have is broken styling. Although we made the page simpler because we had bugs. So, but we'll make it bigger later. So next up, AI tends to make one mistake all the time, that they open the server and they leave the server running, and either they try to change the port, which is stupid, or they just cannot figure out how to shut down the server. So that's not good. Also, these Google guys added in this thing, Antigravity send terminal to chat. Now, this might be a useful hotkey, whatever. But the point is, they bound it on Control L. Control L is how you clear the terminal, right? You type the same thing and like Control L, boom, clear the terminal, right? And what are we learning here is that these Google guys only press accept all and never clear the terminal, pretty much. This is actually very interesting. So I managed to make AI better, and AI is pretty smart, right? So they made mistakes, they committed them, and then they didn't know, because they knew there was like a working version before, but they didn't remember that anymore, of course. It's not in their context window. And if I was just fully vibe coding as Antigravity intended, that would be the end of it. Well, we're just pretty screwed there. But because I set up an extension that actually I wrote, Git AI auto committer. What this does is that if there is change, then if there's like a 5-second inactivity, then we commit it. So that means we were committing like a fucking maniac here, right? And this actually gives AI information, assuming that it's not in their recent memory. So this actually helped. So we are back to the working parser, perhaps, if it loads. Oh, never mind. We were at the end of the file. And I must admit, trying to write the parser is not easy. I'm not surprised that AI is struggling with it. But we can see that feature-wise. So this is like not like a perfect intermarriage of Rust and HTML, perhaps. But we do have features here, right? For, if, match. And realistically, this is kind of what you need. So if we go into the main RS, then we have the page head here with Rusty demo. Okay, page footer, page head. So this is just the script tags with the title. That's fine. A page header, right? We have a footer. We have a bunch of clickable cards. And on the front design, look, so we got the components, we got the HTMX, we can increment, decrement, we can reset, and go back, conditionals. So this example only has ifs in it, and I guess we can nest ifs, access protection, We also have attributes. Yeah, this works. Unfortunately, we got stuck again. So I've just about got the examples for the match and the force. Apparently these would work, but look a little red. But I mean, this is possibly the problem with this anti-gravity. Now, you can argue that I'm doing it wrong. That's fine. But I'm not even sure if like using the fast would be cheaper or at least more accessible. So the experience with the anti-gravity is that you start coding and it's great. And Gemini Pro just kind of expires, well, is used up in like 20 minutes or like half an hour at most. I would say so far it seems to be like 20 minutes. And Claude Sonnet 4.5 would be used up in like at most an hour. It doesn't seem to be the case though. And now it's telling me that I used up my quota and I have to wait. This is for me would be 4 hours, which is not a day reset. Actually, it just seems to just force me to wait like 4 hours to code again. But actually, this doesn't make any sense to me because assuming that they are kind of setting this up as some kind of a code. Well, the thing is, you can argue that I'm doing it wrong as a human, but assuming that they want this to be agentic, then how's it gonna work, right? If I just did this and said like, just go ahead, anti-gravity, make this for me, and in probably at most an hour, because I have actually just given some input here, feedback to Gemini on the side, so I didn't go at full speed. That's kind of what I'm saying. If I was really going at full speed, it would have probably taken me half an hour to burn the quota. And it taken me like, you know, somewhat over one, but kind of like 1.5, kind of. But regardless, the point is that you would just run out of credits and then there's like nothing to do, right? You can't even pay for more credits. I was like, at this point, I guess just you open VS Code. You cannot even add more models here. Well, the one thing that does work is that we can have like inline chat completion, right? I tried to add in other coders, they don't even show up, so that's not that great. So, Now, I'm thinking that in most cases, what you would want is use Gemini Free Pro to make the plan, right? You make the plan with Gemini Free Pro, and presumably you use GPT OSS to grind it out. Now, this would make sense, I assume. Although, I might argue that at least you would want one model that can be used on the side. Not like, oh yeah, well, none of the models actually available right now. I guess you just have to wait. Then the odd part is that they're not even trying to sell me anything. They're like, oh yeah, you ran out of quota in like 20 minutes. How about you like pay us like $200 or something? So I actually think that they have a pretty good editor here. And we have the artifacts that are kind of useful. We have the agent manager that's kind of useful. But if you just try to use the highest end models, then it's gonna be the experience of like, you know, you're gonna be here for like 1 hour and you're just told to just go away and come back later. And the only way you can possibly make this not the case if you are typing quite a bit too, which I was doing a little bit. So, but that truly wasn't the main part of the development here. Or presumably you use GPT OSS 120B. That might burn through the credits a little slower. Although this was a bit of a special project, and presumably most would not fall into this category, because we kind of want a top intelligence. As you can tell, even the Claude 4.5 is struggling. Even Gemini 3 Pro is struggling. And let me tell you, I struggle too. And because the plan, so to speak, is kept in anti-gravity, it probably doesn't make that much sense to like, okay, we're just gonna open this folder in VS Code and just keep going, right? because that might just break the plan. Although Gemini almost certainly would realize what's going on, but still. I guess we're gonna be back for more later again. But look at this. We are actually saving some information. So it is actually testing the website, and this is when it was buggy. We just dumped the text on the homepage. And then we fixed it. And I'm like, okay. And now we have a full-on walkthrough. Homepage enhancement. Right? And it saved the... Well, I guess we have some instructions here. The for loops are in progress. With next steps. Fair enough. But this is pretty much like a documentation with GIFs, right? And I would say effective too. And finally, we are done. I came back and finished the whole thing. Well, it would be more fair to say that Gemini finished it. And we wrote a guide too. Now, 4 works and so does matches, and it's kind of cool. And we also fixed the Rusty macro, showing like it's not going to work, but it does work. So we can use these components. We can throw in arguments, right? We have if-else, and I guess we have some matches too. Of course, we have components that we use. So we got some vectors here, and we can go over them with for fruits and fruits. And I guess we're gonna have some matches over here too. And HTMX as well works. Of course, we're using Tailwind here, which is an excellent choice here. I'm not even interested in finding out if you can do it in other ways. But let's just see the site here. So we got a bit of an update when it comes to the looks. HTMX, we can increment, we can decrement. Okay, reset, works. We get conditionals. With ifs. We got lists, apples, bananas, oranges, grapes. Sure. This is not really groundbreaking stuff, just kind of cool that it's done with Rust in a very HTML looking style. So from what I can tell, it does work. No doubt, it probably has bugs in it. Someone would have to brave it and I guess fix the bugs. Maybe it's gonna be me, but it's not a priority. So we have a README, a detailed README about it. That tells you how it works. But also we have an AI guide. So this is what you would throw into the AI. This is actually interesting because I tried to use it. So I made this pet project over here. And this is just, all it does is that we are importing this new Rusty library, as you can see. And we're using it in a pretty minimalistic way. So this is the pet Rusty site. This is just importing Rusty, and we got it working, right? Well, the links work, I guess, at least. But my point would be that when I tried to do this, it kind of worked when I tried to use the README, but it didn't really work because thing is, AI doesn't have information about how to use this Rusty. No doubt. Okay, fair enough. So I wrote this AI guide for the AI. This is gonna be pretty, well, explicit, I suppose. And this browser recording feature actually come in handy quite a bit. I guess we can also have it for having some GIFs in our docs, but most of all, we can see that AI is just trying things out, right? That's pretty cool. But fundamentally, this video mainly is about Google's new anti-gravity thing. And ultimately, I say it's very cool. Truly, the main concern would be that you cannot really use other providers with it, or at least not easily. And also, Google doesn't give you that much of a quota. So I would say in most cases, what you would want is that you plan with Gemini 3 Pro high, and then possibly grind out with a cheaper model. So that is what would make sense for me. But also, we kind of challenged both Antigravity and Gemini 3 here with this kind of a review or project, whatever. And it passed. I say it passed.
So at this point, I'm gonna say that Antigravity is arguably the best AI code editor, with one big problem is that it's pretty much a code for like 1 hour and then go away for 4. Which kind of forces you to have at least a backup here. And they're not really supporting you to use other AIs and other providers with their great little system they have here. Compared to it, VS Code would be a dinosaur. So this is just awkward. And Cursor is only somewhat better than VS Code. As you can see, usually my preferred way of coding is some kind of a AI agent chat inside VS Code, and they have various options. But they still come with the limitation of VS Code. Yet I might say that one possible perk here that you can add your own. So GitHub Copilot comes with garbage options. I'm not going to use a euphemism here, but you can add some providers. So you have a better selection. And by using this kind of a kilo code or root code or Klein, these kind of agents, then you can actually try out a bunch of AIs. As you can tell, I used the Minimax M2 for this glorious project. Not the Rusty, but this Rusty tiny example pet project. But compared to Antigravity, this is in a whole different dimension. Not in a good way. You just edit one page and you accept that, and that's it. This is good for accuracy, but it is far more limiting. Another AI code editor that I tried out was Windsurf, somewhat briefly in the past, but that had other problems. So I would say, just based on what I know, user experience-wise, this is the best. Although, you might have to get used to, or possibly you want to select an option where the AI goes a little slower, if that is what you prefer. I don't think the way it's set up, it would work very well in agentic mode. It would work for a while, no doubt, but then it would hit the limit. And they also have some other features that were not that relevant in this one-off project. So we have this anti-gravity agent manager that could be good. Although, wouldn't I hate the quota? Because that would be my main concern. But it's at least good to see. And we also see the artifacts here. 36 files for this conversation. Really good. With a full walkthrough. So my only concern would be, can I keep using it? Because if I can, I will.